Now, Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa's quest to extend his term beyond the constitutional limit in 2028 is likely to face resistance as the military, which is the traditional political power broker in Zimbabwe, is opposed to such moves. While Mnangagwa has repeatedly declared that he is a constitutionalist and will not seek an extension beyond 2028, critics remain skeptical of his intentions. As they say publicly, he seems to be in agreement that he will retire in 2028. However, in political circles, he is speaking a different language and giving different signals that are encouraging his core supporters to push for a constitutional amendment for him to stay on until 2030. In Zimbabwe, the role of the military in intra-party politics is apparent and has shown over the years. Joining me to talk about this now is a political analyst, Makomborero Aruzive. Thank you so much, Mr. Aruzive, for joining us on the news.
Thank you.
So what does the statement from the Zimbabwean army about blocking President Emmerson Mnangagwa from allegedly seeking a third term signify about the level of military influence in the country's politics?
Well, the statement from the military is rather not so formal. Of course, it's coming from sources within the military quoted by the media. It's not formal because the army constitutionally should not dabble in, day-to-day domestic politics as it is an avenue for civilians. But it's something that we can't brush aside. It's something that we have to also take seriously because the military has dabbled in politics from time and time again. We've seen that in 2008 elections when the opposition under Dr. Morgan Richard Tsvangirai the late won elections, but the military came in and resisted power transfer to the opposition. We've also seen in more historical examples the power, being transferred by the military during the Mgagao Declaration in 1975, where power, was transferred by the military within ZANU-PF structures to the late President Robert Mugabe. So the military time and time again have dabbled in politics, and the military from time and time again they have involved themselves in politics. We saw even in 2018 when the opposition won under Advocate Nelson Chamisa, the military came out into the streets and shot civilians to resist a power, a transition. So the military, come what may, it has a significant stake. It's rather a stockholder in terms of politics in Zimbabwe, and it's something which, if they are to mention that Emmerson Mnangagwa will not extend his term, is something that must also be taken seriously given their history. So it's something which Zimbabweans and the world at large must treat seriously, although they should never condone the military getting involved in politics, but it's something that will happen, and it's something that Emmerson Mnangagwa himself should take seriously, considering that he came in through a military coup. The succession also from Robert Mugabe to Emmerson Mnangagwa was through a military coup. It was the military which took tanks into the streets. It was the gun that determined that transition. So it's something that cannot be dismissed. It's something that should be taken and considered.
Yeah, but it seems you are not in support of the military's involvement in the political dispensation in the country. So I'm wondering if that is actually echoed by the sentiments of citizens in the country as regards the involvement of the military in the country's political matters.
Yes, citizens do definitely. They do not condone the military getting involved in civilian politics because the civilian politics, according to the Constitution, politics is a civilian affair, and the military should not be, should not dabble in them. And also, according to general democratic principles, the military should not decide. It's not the gun that should determine politics, it's the pen, it's the ballot. But the military has proven to be mightier in terms of vetoing their way and their will into the day-to-day politics of Zimbabwe. The military, it's not just in terms of politics, it's also in the economy. We have seen the military, even in diamonds, in Chiadzwa, it's the military that eventually profited most to the detriment of the Zimbabwean economy. We can see even when it comes to agricultural programs and projects, it's the military through Command Agriculture currently, and before there were other programs like Maguta program, which the military was running to the detriment of Zimbabwe. And we can see that Zimbabwe right now, according to UN, there is poverty. The agriculture is not delivering, yet Zimbabwe used to be the bread basket of Southern Africa, but it's no longer that. It's now the baking basket of Southern Africa. So the military dabbling in politics is not something that citizens of Zimbabwe welcome. We have seen that through successful elections where citizens fought for a preferred candidate of their choice, from Dr. Morgan Richard Trankai to Advocate Nelson Chamisa, and the military ruling otherwise, vetoing otherwise. So it's not something desirable because it's undemocratic and it borders on treason, borders.
So if you are concerned about the involvement of the military so far, are you not also concerned about the supposed statements of President Emmerson Mnangagwa, who has actually said that he would not be seeking a second term in office, but then seems as this body language is saying something else? How credible can we place such statements? Or are there some other strategic maneuver in light of the military's position that made the president to, of course, say this and probably act otherwise?
To begin with, Emmerson Mnangagwa to declare interests, through proxies, of course, that he wants to extend his term, is dependent solely on his grip on the military. It's dependent solely on his control of the guns in Zimbabwe. So Emmerson Mnangagwa making that push, it should be considered to be, a military intention. So the military, through sources, of course, because officially, the commander of the army has not said that, and also the commander of the Zimbabwean Defense Forces has not come out openly to say that. And him saying that, it shows that there's something wrong in Zimbabwe's politics. When there are issues to do with sabotaging the constitution, it should be entirely an issue which the citizens of Zimbabwe, through appropriate platforms, parliament, and also through a plebiscite, these are the instruments which should really be blocking Emmerson Mnangagwa, and him making intentions to extend his term through, of course, his control as the commander-in-chief of the military shows that he depends on military power. And if he is to be stopped by the military, it will be, of course, a plus, but something that should not be celebrated because it is kind of like legitimizing military's involvement in Zimbabwe's politics, which is an anomaly. So, of course, I think the interesting thing now in all this is Mnangagwa's deputy president, who is the former general and commander of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, who effected a coup against Mugabe, which ushered in Emmerson Mnangagwa. So, if the military say no, of course, it will be just factional politics within the military, within ZANU-PF, where the military has specific interests which are beneficial to them and not the masses of Zimbabwe. And when we say the military, it's the elite military commanders, it's not the ordinary soldiers. The ordinary soldiers are also suffering. They are also with the people of Zimbabwe. But then, the army is a straight jacket. The army, they work on commands. The army work on, instructions from their superiors. So it is a sad case. And in terms of the democratic situation in Zimbabwe, where a sitting president is trying unconstitutional maneuvers and democratic maneuvers, and the military is the one to respond, it shows that there's no democracy because where is the people's voice in all of this? Where is the people's will located in all of this? What matters is the people of Zimbabwe who spoke when they voted for that constitution in 2013. It's the people of Zimbabwe who have, after all, to be consulted through a plebiscite. So if it's about the military now, it shows the people's voice is no longer important.
Of course, we know that the will of the people should reign supreme, but then probably before the expiration of his tenure, we get to understand where the footings or the political footings of President Emmerson Mnangagwa would be as regards tenure elongation or not. Thank you so much, Makomborero Aruzivi, for talking to us.
Thank you.